Otto, you're... Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new Rocket Lab Weekly. I think I'm not sure we're fully live. Now I started the view count going. Okay, maybe we start again. So, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rocket Lab Weekly, episode 110. A freaking unbroken 110 straight weeks of covering Rocket Lab Weekly, and that is thanks to Matt Farley, who last week took the time and made sure that the show kept going. And I think this week he's sitting in some British prison for posting memes, and that's why he's not allowed to show his face. And yeah, so how's everyone after a super turbulent week on the market? Yeah, how do you guys handle this mentally?
Yeah, I did kind of release a video about it. I'm doing just fine, really. The way I kind of look at it is like we're back like a month and a half. We're back to the levels we were like maybe 2 months ago. So that's it.
You know when? Exactly when we met.
I looked at the chart. I knew it. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's Rocket Lab specifically. Now, I guess the overall markets, the date might be a bit different, but yeah, I just go back to it. Okay, we've lost like a month and a half. That's it. Like it's not that much if you look at it that way. So
yeah,
obviously, if you look at the actual numbers you're down, it can be stressful. So try not to worry about it.
I'm actually just looking the first time this week at the portfolio. Probably for the best. I keep seeing posts like the end is coming, and I'm like, oh, I'm just blocking it out. But overall, fine. Down a little bit, but yeah, a couple hits, couple misses over the week, so not feeling too bad. But yeah, busy week though. Oh my.
It's funny. It's so interesting that I was I'm setting up some more Airbnbs. It's pretty crazy, and I was driving a lot because I was like driving furniture and stuff, and I was like listening to stock videos, and it was so funny. Like I watched Dave's video, I watched Matt's Rocket Lab Weekly, then I watched Scotto's Shift 4, and it's so funny that when we're not together, like I still like it's your content that is being recommended. I was like, this is pretty cool.
yeah, I always still listen to it when I'm not on.
Cool. So, I mean, I wanted to chit chat a bit. So, Eastern Shore Spaceflight, how are you doing? Thanks for being here, and thanks for the amazing pictures. Listening while working on today's updates. Dude, we need your updates before the show. So, I wanted to chit chat a little bit more because I don't know what is happening to Matt. But
yeah, I think he said he'd just like jump in partway through or whatever. I think he was having he was a little bit delayed, but I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay, fine. Then we can actually get going. I was thinking we go through the Rocket Lab news, and then we cover earnings, and then there's a lot of very interesting news outside of Rocket Lab, like in the space industry, and then we can cover those after the earnings preview. So cool. Let me see, where do we begin? Okay, let's start with this one. So we had a launch last week, and that was the second launch of this quarter, 16th launch total this year. And I mean, I know that the absolute launch tracker is Scotto, so I was thinking maybe you could tell us how we're looking for this year and this quarter, and what is next to come.
Sure, I'll actually I'll share my screen if you don't mind. I was just kind of polishing up things a little bit before we went live, so
here we go.
Cool. So I'll bring us all the way down. So yeah, 16 launches for the year. Where are we at now? November. So yeah, it's going to be a busy few days coming up. So we just had IQPS number 7, I believe. We've got Escapade launching tomorrow, earnings the next day. Maybe a little spoiler for later in the episode, but it seems like we have another haste number 6 coming like right away, next couple of weeks. And then past that, we've got a very busy December. So we've got USSF on the 8th. We've got Synspective probably still landing within the year. And then we have both ESA and JAXA launching from New Zealand still in December. And I listened to Black Sky's call earlier today. They're supposed to have 6 by the end of the year. I'm a little bit unclear what happened with that. They mentioned that this 3rd Gen 3 satellite had an issue with one of the components, but it was just the one satellite. So I don't know why the other 3 would be delayed, but long story short, it sounds like they're only getting one off of this year still. So probably in December, it sounds like. They said like the coming weeks. So I'm assuming that to mean December. So the other 2 that are signed with Rocket Lab are now pushed into 2026. We'll probably talk about MDA as well, but I'm not sure about that one no more either. And then Neutron, TBD. Past that, we do have still 3 maybes for 2025. One more being Hawkeye, one more being another IQPS 7. Correcting myself, I think I said the last one was 7. The one we just had, that would actually be number 6. My bad. And then Capella is still a maybe. So still plenty to happen this year. Some might get pushed, but not the end of the world.
Yeah. I'm starting to worry that a lot of these maybes are looking more like next year's. I don't know if you guys saw, there was a tweet Muriel sent out actually, where she mentioned that it was a new record after the most recent launch and said a couple more by the end of the year. And I was like, a couple? That doesn't sound good. Because like, you know, that to me, that's 2. And then we're looking at 18 for the year.
Yeah, that's odd. Especially like, I kind of feel like with government customers, those are kind of like very locked in. Like, you know what I mean? Like some customers might kind of get pushed off for reasons X, Y, or Z, but I feel like, yeah, I don't know. That's an odd one. There's got to be more than a couple.
Didn't Sir Peter Beck say that the commercial customers pay late, always launch on time, and then the government...
By the way, Scott, your screen's still on there. I'm not sure if you're aware.
Oh, sorry.
My bad. Little look behind the scenes.
Yeah.
One sec, guys. Switch it back.
That's an interesting question. If you guys don't mind a little going off topic, we have RX, someone asking about the Intuitive Machines purchase. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that one. That was certainly quite a large acquisition.
Yeah, I queued it up. I was thinking that we could take it after, like we go through the Rocket Lab Weekly and then the earnings,
Sure,
and then
okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that a little bit later on, RX.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, I was also looking at one very interesting thing. I was looking at the, my projections for the numbers, and it's going to be interesting if the launch side doesn't pick up, because Space Systems is doing really, really well. But there hasn't been any new contracts announced, and I don't know if Space Systems can like skyrocket. I mean, when we go into the numbers, then we can go into details. Yeah, it's just interesting. I'm very curious about the guidance that Rocket Lab is going to give in this quarter. Cool. We checked the next one. And that is, as you guys touched on, tomorrow, Escapade is launching on Blue Origin's New Glenn. I think we could just watch this video really quick so we all hear what Rocket Lab has to say about this mission, and then yeah, we can discuss it a bit more. So let me know.
Order of magnitude low.
Escapade
is a low-cost dual spacecraft science mission to study Mars's hybrid magnetosphere. It's funded by NASA. Science is led by the University of California, Berkeley, and the spacecraft bus is provided by Rocket Lab. The bus is basically what takes the science instrument from Earth to Mars, and it's what keeps the satellite alive.
The more we learn about other planets in our solar system, the more we also learn about our own planet and its past and maybe its future as well. This mission to Escapade and going to Mars is helping us understand its magnetosphere. But not only that, with a platform like this, it can be adapted to do many different missions, and each of those missions may have their own way of improving life here on Earth.
So Escapade represents basically doing science at a order of magnitude lower than previous. We're doing it for, less than 80 million for spacecraft and launch, which is huge.
One of the ways we made these spacecraft at the price point we did was by developing them over about 3 years instead of the typical 10.
So today we brought our spacecraft in from the truck into our integration facility here, and we've been moving our spacecraft onto their rotation fixtures and setting up our ground support equipment for the rest of our testing campaign prior to launch. There's been a ton of work leading up to this. I've been working on this program for almost 2 years now. Definitely means a lot to be here and this close to launch.
I think the team is amazing. There's been, a few ups and downs along the way, and they just keep persevering. It's been a lot of hard work to get to this point, for sure.
I mean, the biggest challenge here is that part of the NASA Simplex mission is that we have to be compatible with a lot of different launch vehicles. So actually trying to design for 12 different vehicles and then eventually getting down selected to New Glenn was actually quite difficult to envelope all those performances of all the loads. So I got to design the spacecraft to be fairly robust, which is great because it's helping us get through on this rocket coming up.
Escapade really fits well into Rocket Lab's overall mission to be an end-to-end space company. And it's a beautiful example of what we can do when we bring everything in-house. The Escapade propellant tanks, for example, they were developed in record time in less than half a year.
Rocket Lab is an end-to-end company, so we're fully vertically integrated. We found a way to be able to parallelize the entire development and production of the spacecraft by making the tanks on their own timeline, and then when they were ready, integrating them on the spacecraft.
Honestly, it feels like a dream come true to be working on a Mars spacecraft. I'm touching hardware that I've had an impact in designing and building and testing that is going to another planet.
I think to see it for real for the first time will just be kind of pretty surreal to begin with. We'll probably all be gathered here for the launch, and we'll just be waiting for first contact. And I think once we get that, there'll be all systems go, and from there it will just be from one milestone to another, and it's just going to be fun to be part of that journey.
And my dream is that planetary exploration also goes from billion-dollar government programs down to something much more achievable that is within the budget of the university. And Escapade takes that first step.
What it unlocks is additional deep space high delta V missions. Things like Mars telecommunication orbiters, asteroid rendezvous, mission to Venus, or even further.
That was the video. As a little bit of extra information, I saw some very interesting tweets. One of them was when NASA awarded this mission, Rocket Lab was a very small startup where, because it was many years ago, right? It wasn't the Rocket Lab we know today. And at that time, there was even questions about if Rocket Lab is even going to be around. Because, there was at that time, it wasn't clear how they're going to finance their business going forward. And it was done on a micro budget. Every other Mars mission was between $500 to $1.3 billion for NASA. And this one was done in $100 million. And again, very interesting thing here is that I don't believe Rocket Lab gave a discount. I think that they have very nice margins on this one, whereas I'm sure that Blue Origin is going heavily minus on this launch, and I think they took like $30 million for this launch to Mars. So it's actually a very big thing. I think bigger than we realize. But any other? What do you guys think about this Escapade, and now that it's coming to fruition and happening? And yeah, what do you guys think? Dave, you're muted.
Sorry, I muted myself during the video. Still can't believe how cheap it is listening to the guy talk about it in the video. You're sending 2 spacecraft to Mars, including launch. What he said, like 80 million, right? Unreal. I'm excited to see it fly. And I think we're getting a bit of background noise from Matt there.
Matt, how's the British prison for posting memes?
Oh, he's gone again.
He muted. Okay.
Yeah.
He's lurking.
Yeah,
he's lurking.
Sorry, I didn't realize that you would probably. Yeah, that's my fault. Continue, Dave.
I don't know what he said, but okay. When his connection is better, he is welcome to come in. So, Dave, you were saying.
Yeah, I just thought it was really cool what they can achieve with such a small budget. Obviously, we know Blue is launching at a loss. Just excited to see it fly. Now, I think it will hang out at a Lagrange point in orbit for quite a while before going to Mars. So, because they missed that initial launch window, so it'll still be a little bit of a wait before they actually get there. But very cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing 22 months for the trip to Mars. So I guess September 2027 is when we should expect arrival. To what you're saying, Vince, like, yeah, it was awarded in November 2020. So you have a very different rocket lab compared to what we see now. There was where was that? An orbital mechanics podcast from a while back. There was a mention of a $55 million cost cap. So, and there was also an action obligation of $51 million. So yeah, these satellites are probably $20 to $25 million each, which is like astounding. It's just capstone all over again, where it's like, yeah, the industry typically does it for this much, and we'll do it for like 10% of that. So it's just
makes me kind of wonder, like, if we can do this, let's just start sending these babies out all over the place, like 20 million a pop. You know, let's go to send some more craft to Venus, anywhere.
Yeah.
If Blue is still willing to get, launch them for that kind of price.
I was going to say, I guess that was also Sir Peter Beck's reasoning when he was going to like pay for the Venus mission himself, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, it's so cheap and affordable. Let's do it. Yeah. And there's one funny play at here, which I promised on Twitter that I will mention, that somehow it seems like Blue Origin never mentions Rocket Lab in its tweets. They always say that, we're going to launch NASA's Escapade mission, and Rocket Lab never mentions Blue Origin. They're only talking about like, we are the ones who made the spacecraft, and then they're never mentioning that it's being launched on Blue Origin. And then some people make this into like a very, I don't know, the person who wrote the tweet like put it as very childish from the Rocket Lab community. And I do think that it's like, space politics, but it's kind of also correct, because Blue Origin is buying, like, NASA is Blue Origin's customer. And I don't think that they should be calling out like, okay, NASA was the one who initiated it, Rocket Lab made it, and, this screw was manufactured by this company in China. And so I don't think that there's any foul play there. But it would be nice to get name recognition, but it is what it is. I'm pretty sure that the space industry knows that this was done by Rocket Lab and that it was a major achievement.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see, some like cross company call outs or whatever, but I think it's natural for each company to want to highlight what their own part in the mission.
I'm convinced too at this point, it's just like an inside joke between Amazon / Blue Origin and Rocket Lab. Like, let's work together really closely, but never acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, somebody.
Yeah, I did actually want to say something. Never mind.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know if you guys can hear me well or not.
We hear you well.
Okay, good. Yeah, I did want to say that I definitely think that some of the lack of diplomacy that I'm seeing from people in the community, being somewhat rude to others that are our partners, I think is something that I would caution, right? I think that when we interact with people, we should be just demonstrating the true values of what Rocket Lab is really trying to demonstrate. And for some people, I get it. You want to see the company succeed. You want to see the company name. But to be unprofessional, I think is something that we need to kind of recognize and be sure that we don't do that, right? Let the company execute and deliver, and don't put a bad name, because at the end of the day, we all work together as companies in the space industry, and so to be calling out or to be trying to make a bad name for somebody else or poke fun. I get it. I've done it in the past as well, so I'll be transparent. But I think some of the things that I've seen, we should be celebrating New Glenn. We shouldn't be being rude to the folks at Blue Origin or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, we all work together. And so I don't want, let's just say, the company to get a negative light and say, oh, look at these shareholder community, like how toxic and how poor they are in terms of their values. Let the company deliver through its execution. And while I know everyone's excited, just, be diplomatic, right? What would Sir Peter Beck do? And, try to demonstrate that online.
I think you're muted now, Vince.
I am?
Well, you're back now. Okay.
Okay. I said wise words from a wise man who's at the train station.
Oh yeah. It was a little tough to hear there.
Cool. So somebody already segued into this for us, but due to the government shutdown, it seems to be that the FAA is restricting commercial launches into daytime hours. So I think that no re-entries or launches can be made after 22 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning. And Rocket Lab has tweeted that this doesn't affect them because they're in New Zealand. Which, I mean, I know that the US government shutdown is a very rare thing. So, yeah, I don't think
it's rare, but it's not. It's getting less rare, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, like, you can't build like a thesis that, like this spaceport is so much better because even if the US is in shutdown, then you can launch from here, because I don't think it's that frequent. But yeah, it's still cool. To see the what is it called? The advantages of having your own private space thing. And I don't know about the US government shutdown, but somebody mentioned that like from next week, maybe the airports will also be closing down, and then Matt will be permanently stuck in England then.
I've heard they're reducing capacity. I haven't heard anything about a complete shutdown of airports, but I guess we'll see.
Use like air traffic, like you go like, okay, every plane that has like, the flight number ends on an even number can come in, and if it's an odd number, then
yeah, it's interesting stuff. I wonder how much longer this is going to go for, and it's just like they're still getting paid, right? Like this whole time, yeah.
The congressmen are getting paid, but I heard that the military is not getting paid, and Curtis says that they decrease flights by 10%. That's it. I have no clue how they decide which flights is being canceled or not. Okay, interesting. Let's hope the shutdown ends very soon. Cool. Other news next week, this book has gotten released, and crazy enough, I got it as everybody else. Normally when things get launched in the US, I have to wait like 3-4 weeks before I get it. It's a very heavy, very high quality, super nice book. I think it's like 90% pictures. Have you guys gotten yours, and what do you think about it?
Yeah. Sorry, you can go ahead, Scott.
Oh, I was just going to say, no, nothing yet. I keep checking, but nothing yet.
I think I got mine. The box came like literally an hour before this show started. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm pretty confident that's what's inside. So excited to open that baby up.
Yeah, let's see if we find. I mean, I just flipped through it. I haven't had time to really read it, but I'm curious if we will see, find like very interesting information nowhere else available about the company. Yeah, Curtis says that the book was a yawner, but again, we all know everything that's in there. Yeah, I mean, we're going to see. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. no complaints on the quality.
Nice.
Cool. So we go to almost the last news on Rocket Lab, and then we go into earnings. So we keep getting more pictures from Murray J from New Zealand, from the Warworth, I can't even say this, Warkworth production facility, and they are testing something that we don't know if it's the first Neutron or the second Neutron and what exactly they are testing, but more things are happening here than at LC3. I think we can say this. And somebody commented here that because they said that if this thing needs to be shipped on a barge, it's probably not going to make it to Wallops by the end of the year. But somebody said that it can be taken apart and put into sheets, and then it can be loaded into an airplane. So it still might have a chance if this is Neutron 1. So what do you guys think about these pictures?
I mean, it's got to be Neutron 2, I'd imagine. I'm willing to bet that Neutron 1 is already on the way, if not already arrived, around LC3, and that this one is more just like doing the additional testing for like when it is time to actually lift it in. That's my assumption. I could be wrong, but that's my takeaway. What are you thinking, Dave?
I'm kind of with you on that one. I don't think it's number 1. It may even just be a Pathfinder, something that they don't intend to fly for all we know, or it could be number 2. So I would think number 1, if they still feel like they have a chance of launching this year, would have to be in transit or even at Wallops.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why we're not seeing the number 1, because it's such a... do you guys remember when the security guy came to us on the LC3 opening, and he was talking about that when you start putting Neutron together, like it's impossible to hide, and then like they're not allowing you to film it, but he's like, it's so big that if you like fly a drone around it in a still allowed location, then you're going to start seeing it. And he said that the minute that they are starting to put it together, like it's going to be all over the internet. And I'm like, could this be it? Because it's, or why are they assembling this and not the Neutron number 1?
It sounded like the way that he phrased it. I'm under the impression that he was talking about it being like in the States. So I don't think this is the one he was referring to, but I don't know. I don't know where the one in the States is, or what the time frame is on that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as is it tanks a lot? Or sorry, someone in the chat said, yeah, like this may not be intended to fly. It may be qualification testing type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with all these. I'm just wondering, like, why are we not seeing the other Neutron? Because this is also, I'm not even sure that people expected to see this. It's just, it came out, and then the community was like, oh my God, change at this factory, post the pictures online, right? And I'm sure that wherever Neutron would come out of a building, there would be people taking pictures.
I mean, the other thing to remember is that they're, for the first Neutrons, having it in those 2 separate modules, so they could theoretically, fit those inside some of those buildings, and you could have 2 halves assembled and some testing or stuff being done on it for all we know.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, so do we dare to say it now that Neutron is probably not launching this year, or we should?
I said it a few weeks ago.
Okay, and have you had any death threats, people knocking on your doors?
No.
No. Okay, good. It's safe to say now then. Okay, so
Wow.
it doesn't. I hope it does, but I don't know. I don't think there's this thing called the Berger law from Eric Berger, that any launch vehicle announced in Q4 of a year happens like in Q2 of next year. That's his law, or something like this. Yeah.
That seems fair. Yeah.
We'll have a very good idea in just a couple days, because they always share some pictures in progress on Neutron. So even if they don't say it outright, I feel like we should have a sense.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like the tone that they mentioned the launch with. If it is going to be like 2025, but it's a launch program, like that's typically what's been said. But I wonder if they'll say like end of the year or early 2026 finally, or if they're going to hold true to just end of the year. Or it's going to be interesting the way that they phrase it, the kind of energy
I
they're
was kind
bringing.
of curious, just because I remember a couple interviews where Peter said like, "Oh, we're going to be working till the last day in 2025 to try and get a launch off." So that made me wonder if they won't, like, even if they recognize it's unlikely, if they won't actually announce a delay because they're going to keep working towards it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to, and I don't know. I feel like they have to address it. Like if they know that it's in like the timeline is not real. I guess if they think they can still make it, then
what if? Sorry to interrupt, but what if they're chatting amongst themselves and they're like, "Okay, we think there's like a 99.2% chance it will not launch this year. Do we have to announce the delay, or do we say, well, there's still a chance, so we don't announce a delay?" I don't know how you deal with that kind of thing.
Transparent company, so I would be very surprised if they don't. I mean, I think that they would say it like how you said it, you know, like that there's a 90 or like a very high probability that it's in 2026. We're still going for 2025, something like this. It would, yeah, very, very interesting. And again, when we go into the numbers, I want to see one thing with you guys, because like my model, or you know, like it's built on that, like Neutron starts launching, right? Because it starts adding like 55 million launches, and then if it gets delayed, obviously that's not good, and there has not been really any like awards, and like for space systems, and we are delivering at a 600 million clip per year. So something like we either need a new contract announcement, or we will like the growth will slow down a little bit. And yeah.
So I just kind of laughing because James was talking about the famous "on the pad in 2025" quote, and just picturing them like rolling out the pieces of Neutron, sitting them on there, and they're like, "Yeah, we did it." Technically. But anyway, yeah, obviously there'll be a bit of short-term revenue implications to any delay, so we'll have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, cool. Before the numbers, this is the last one. So very interesting article from New Zealand. Seems like the government plans a space mission and a satellite fleet, which I think was an obvious. If you have a homegrown space transport company, why not have your own satellites? What do you guys think about this one?
I'm just hearing about this. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the article, and yeah, it made sense to me. I didn't see a ton of details on it. Do you know, is there much details on like what will launch when and how much, many sats or anything like that? Yeah.
The only thing the article said, I think that it's a couple of satellites for you know, like like checking for wildfires and policing fishing, and but it's not like a 13,000 satellite constellation, but it's more than one.
Yeah, I would say it's cool, and Rocket Lab will most likely be involved, but I don't know how big it has the potential to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will be mathematically significant for Rocket Lab, but it's still, like a cool thing. It will add to the revenue, that's for sure. Cool.
Vince, I sent you something in the private chat. It was something that was forwarded to me from Francisco.
I did have one or two other items to share as well.
Is one the MDA stuff?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I have that, and then something on hypersonics that was also sent to me by Francisco.
Sure. Thank you, Francisco.
Yeah.
So I put it on screen for you.
So long story short, Trouble in Paradise, I think. The delivery, well, the phrasing is odd because there's supposed to be, I think, 9 this year. It's going to be split into 2 launches, but it's now sounding like the MDA satellites are being pushed into next year sometime. And I'm not quite sure who's at fault here. It's like that Spider-Man meme where each of them are pointing at each other. I've heard different things, but that's kind of the headline, is that those satellites are apparently no longer taking off in fourth quarter of this year. So maybe that's related to the shutdown, or maybe that's something different entirely. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I was reading about that as well. I obviously was curious whether that has anything to do with Rocket Lab or the satellite buses, or if it's something on the payload end of things. It's really hard to say because, Rocket Lab's building the bus, sending it to MDA. MDA is going to complete it, at least from what I understand, and it's for Globalstar. The other interesting thing with this is there's a lot of jockeying right now. Globalstar saying, "Oh, well, maybe SpaceX is interested in buying us," and Globalstar apparently also saying it's entitled to get damages from MDA Space because of the delay, but didn't disclose the amount. So there's a lot of drama going on right now between these two companies. I'm just really interested to see how it plays out. Obviously, MDA also recently just lost a massive contract with EchoStar because SpaceX bought all their spectrum. So it would be like 2 for MDA. They're 2 big contracts if Globalstar did end up getting taken over by SpaceX.
I'm clear on the phrasing too. Like, Vince, are you able to click on that link there, kind of at the bottom at the end?
Yeah, there isn't a ton in the article.
No, but it's the phrasing is like the contracting team of MDA Space and Rocket Lab USA has encountered. So I'm not sure if that has encountered. I'm not sure which one they're talking about there. Repeated delays in the construction of 17 satellites for Globalstar, and will be liable for liquidated damages under the contract. So I'm not sure if they're talking about the contracting team of MDA and Rocket Lab. I'm not sure who's at fault there.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's really been disclosed. Yeah, there was a disclosure in Globalstar's a 10Q filing, so I haven't actually gone and read that filing, but I assume there's not much detail there.
Your screen, Beto.
Oh, is this my screen? Oh, okay, my bad. Sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling. I'm looking through my bookmarks. I did see something earlier today. The CFO jumped in and said the first batch of the replacement satellites are now first half of 2026. Launch window of April to September. Looks like they're still launching with SpaceX, though. Yeah, I don't think there was too much more on that. I guess we'll find out in the coming days, hopefully even on Rocket Lab's call, but these were originally supposed to be delivered at the end of last year, I think. All have to be delivered this year. That was said, in April of 2024. So by the end of this year or so, they're originally supposed to be the end of 2024, and now they look like being delivered 2026, early 2026. It's quite a delay. So I'm not sure what exactly is happening there, who's at fault or what exactly. But yeah, that paired with the Escapade stuff of them supposed to be delivered. Oh, we just talked about it. When was that? August 2024. I mean, it's starting to see a pattern, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
Hopefully.
Escapade, I don't think was fully Rocket Lab's fault, right? Like New Glenn wasn't ready for the initial launch, and they got shuttled back and forth a couple times, I think.
Yeah,
but maybe it was a little bit late. But my sense was the main issue with them not launching on time was Blue Origin.
I think Rocket Lab did Escapade on time, or basically on time, as far as I understand.
I remember seeing something like there might have been some minor delays.
All right. Was there anything else you guys want
to? The last one, I don't think I have a link for it. I'll just read you guys the quote quick. It's just something interesting because Hypersonics, the HASTE launch was supposed to go off, I think, Q4 of this year, or maybe it was Q1 of this year, and it got pushed to Q4. It's now Q1 2026. But during Kratos' earnings call, their CEO mentioned, I'll just read the full quote. Take a look at Hypersonics with an X down in Australia. They just closed a funding round. They have the DART hypersonic drone. We have exclusive rights for that one in the US. That one specifically will launch on Kratos' Zeus. So I don't know if they mean like exclusive rights past this first launch with the Rocket Lab, or what exactly to take from that. I don't understand. But exclusive rights is not great. I was hoping when that first Hypersonics launch was announced, it was mentioned to be one of 3, not from Rocket Lab, but Hypersonics mentioned that. So one was signed with 2 more kind of possible, but now it seems like Rocket Lab's launching only one, or maybe none at all anymore. I don't understand why that got moved around, but same thing. I mean, that seems kind of the theme this week. It's like trouble in paradise. So hopefully, I don't think Rocket Lab will really clarify too much on this. It's like one launch, not a huge deal, but it's just an interesting data point.
I'll have to take a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. And I did ask for an interview with the team at Rocket Lab, but I have not gotten any answer yet. And then, because there is quite some things that we could ask. For example, I would love to ask Sir Peter Beck the Neutron pictures, like, where is the first Neutron? What are these pictures coming out of New Zealand?
Mm-hmm.
And is it like Electron number 2, or is it, and we could ask him questions like this, but maybe not this quarter. We see what happens. Look who the cat dragged in.
Hey, Matty.
So you came home from the train station?
Yeah, just for you guys.
You're awesome. So I think we were just about to start to speak about the earnings and earnings predictions. So I think you came at just the right time.
Perfect.
Cool. So I was thinking I show you guys my table, or should we? Okay, maybe I show first Rocket Lab. No, I'm not showing anything because I'm showing Scotto's screen. Okay, here we go. So this is Rocket Lab's guidance. So they are guiding for 145 million to 155 million in revenue. They are not spacing out if it's the launch section or the space systems. They are just saying expect year-on-year increases in both launch revenue and space systems. The GAAP gross margin is, they are guiding for 35-37%. Due to operating leverage, which is awesome. A non-GAAP gross margin of like around 40%, which is really, really, really good. And I went through a little bit, plugged them in my table, and I want to see what you guys think. So unfortunately, there was only 4 launches in Q3, and I calculated with an 8.5 million average sales price, and I came to a 34 million launch revenue. And unfortunately, because it was not that many launches, I think it will affect the gross margin as well. And to get to their guidance then of the 146 to 155, the only way you can get it is to add in space systems doing a 15% quarter-over-quarter increase. And you can see that the space systems has been on an insane tear. I don't know how, maybe my screen is too small. I make it a little bit bigger. So you can see this is space systems, and this is Q3, Q2, Q1. And you can see that just a few years ago, we were at 40 million per quarter, and now we will be at 3x that at 112 million.
Sorry, are you, we're still seeing the presentation from Q2?
Thank you. Okay, so this is the one that we should be looking at.
Yeah.
So you see the right one now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, then I show again here that just a few quarters ago, we were at like 35 million. That was Q1 2023. That's a little bit more than 2 years ago. And now we're doing 3x of that in Q3 2025. This would be a 40% year-over-year increase in the total revenue. And this is it puts the year at 413 million so far. So if we want to reach 600 million this year, we need an almost 180 million quarter. And here's where I get a little bit troubled is if we have only 5 launches, hopefully we have a lot more, then this will be around a 40 million number for Q4. And that means that Space Systems has to pull a rabbit out of the hat and grow another 20% quarter over quarter. And I just don't know with no new contract announcements and the government shutdown if they're going to be able to do that. So I want to hear your guys' opinion. Like, what do you forecast? Yeah, what do you think the company is going to report and why?
I mean, I'm more or less on par with what you're saying. I think the only thing that I would adjust is the launch revenue for the quarter is probably going to be a little bit higher, and that's just based on 2 of those launches being haste. I think that the margins we could probably expect to be more or less in line with what we've seen over the past few quarters. And I mean, honestly, even if they dip, like gross margin is still like 30%, give or take. I mean, it's still quite healthy. If we continue looking down a bit further, like to operating margin and whatnot, starts to look not so nice. But that's like all Neutron development, which we kind of already know to expect. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, like you said, with all the like the shutdown, if that continues, and what kind of revenue they're going to recognize and where they're going to recognize that through Space Systems. It could be a few quarters of maybe not looking as nice as it has in the past, but when you look to the future, whether it's Mars, whether it's Iron Dome, whether it's what are those called? I'm drawing a blank on the name. Small constellations for other countries. What is that? D to D? No, it doesn't matter. It's just that
Sovereign?
No, it's like some phrase. IoT? I think IoT. Yeah, IoT.
Oh, IoT. Okay.
Yeah, like for little military constellations for smaller countries, for example, things like that. It's just like maybe Rocket Lab has a couple not so great quarters due to the government shutdown. I don't think that Q3 and maybe not Q4 would affect it, but maybe more so like Q1 2026, Q2 2026. Those might start to get impacted because of the delay in the contracts, but. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, long term, I think it's going to be a fine quarter. Still have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I guess, I haven't sat down and gone over the numbers and made a prediction myself yet. I tend to think they sandbag a little bit because they know launch is unreliable and they don't want to have big misses. So, it could be on the lower end of guidance. I don't know if I'm expecting a miss. The other thing, like Curtis was talking about, acquisitions being starting to add in, and I think Geost closed in August. So yeah, maybe that helps.
That's a good point, actually.
And Space Systems, to my mind, has been kind of. I don't want to say pulling a rabbit out of a hat, but kind of like carrying the load and like dragging along launch for a little bit, at least for the past several years. So, I don't want to count it out because very impressed with that side of the business.
I think it's very hard to see and watch the company so closely with kind of a microscope and not recognize, some things that are kind of blaring the obvious. So even if revenue might not necessarily be up in Space Systems by 50, 60, 70%, you're still getting gross margins that are expanding very rapidly throughout the entirety of the business. the trailing 12 months for launch revenue is extremely impressive. In the trailing 12 months in the prior year quarter, we were looking at something along the lines of, where's the number here, 91 or so million, and now we're tracking to be closer to 150 to 160, maybe even closer to 170, depending on how the fourth quarter kind of goes. But as of right now, it'll probably be closer to the 160, 165 range, which, you know, it's in the 80-ish percentile. So I don't think that we should really be writing off the thing that I think that we need to recognize is it's a quarterly number, and the cadence overall has been growing expansively. We're at a 20 launch cadence in the trailing 12 months, and we have until the 24th, I believe, to be able to potentially get up to 21. So I think that all things are pointing in the right direction, inclusive of margin expansion, which has been something that the analysts have been bugging Adam on for quite some time. So I'm just excited. You know, I think all this coupled with the fact that they're investing massively into a new revenue stream like Neutron just goes to show that the company can continue to execute. And maybe they missed a launch here, and I believe that they definitely were probably planning on a fifth launch here in the third quarter. You know, so we might not necessarily get to a full year 25 number that they were expecting, but overall, everything seems to be going in the right direction. And it might get pushed out in time, but overall, I think things are still heading in the right direction, and that's all that really I'm looking forward to hearing, and of course hearing about all the updates, because we've had a lot of them since the second quarter check-in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. And about good things, I also just want to show in the table that this is their adjusted EBITDA losses, and if you can see the chart, like it's actually trending. I mean, okay, there's no chart here on the screen, but if you look at the numbers, it is trending down, and we are going to be at 22 million loss. And in earlier quarters, we had 31 and 29, even 37. And this is while still developing a mid-class launch vehicle. And I think that this number is also becoming a less percentage of the income, like meaning the losses is getting closer to 0%, and then it will like from negative to 0, and then it would flip to positive. I believe I have a chart on it somewhere. I think, yeah, this is the adjusted EBITDA in absolute numbers. And I don't have the chart that shows, yeah, this is like how we're inching closer to 0 on the negative margin. And it's going to be a big thing when we cross over into the positive adjusted EBITDA. But I am worried for the next few quarters, and it might be a gift for the long-term investors who were thinking that, shit, we missed to add to the stock. Like maybe I don't know how the market is going to react to it, because if there's no new contracts and Neutron is pushed out to next year, I'm not sure how nice the growth numbers are going to look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about it as we were talking today, and I was like, with earnings coming up, if one were interested in kind of playing that, the more I think about it, I guess the more downside risk there is versus potential for upside when you think about whether or not they announce a Neutron delay until next year, and then whether there's any issues disclosed with this MDA delay, and the launch numbers maybe being a bit light. So yeah, but again, like a lot of short-term issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to remember, I think it was Joseph Carlson who posted this. I don't know if you guys saw this. He was posting a subscriber growth of Netflix, and it was like growing, and then it slowed down, and then it kept growing. And he said that this slowdown made the stock go down 75%.
I remember that crash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's so funny. because he tweeted it, I think, a few days ago, and when I saw it, I was like, I cannot believe that little, and I feel that if we have a couple of bad quarters, like if we get like an insane reaction to it, like just remember it's a blip on the radar, and
But when you're in the
add this here.
moment, it's
I know. It's tough.
oh no, is this the end of the growth? Have we saturated the market? There was all these questions around Netflix at that time. But
dude, I have a video on my channel that when Netflix was 176, that it's a buy, and then the only reason I didn't buy it because we allocated money to like something else, and then Netflix was like, we were never going to buy it with my dad. And then it just fell and fell and fell. And then at one point I was like, but yeah, I almost bought that one. But I have the video to prove it, that I was like, this is stupid.
Definitely short-term news gets magnified probably too much.
Yeah. Okay,
so it could be
cool.
a buying opportunity. I mean, everyone has to make that decision for themselves if we do get any kind of bad news.
And just to play both sides, maybe on earnings they come out with new contract announcement, new Neutron launch contracts, God knows what, and then maybe all this prediction is wrong. I'm just as Dave, you're saying, I'm like, yeah, there is down risks at the moment, like that I see. Yeah.
But it could take is some really nice looking pictures of Neutron. Maybe it's in two halves inside one of those buildings, and yeah.
Cool. I think that was the earnings talk, unless you guys want to add anything more to it, and then we could move on to the general space news.
I don't have anything else. No.
Okay, cool. Let me see where we're at. Oh yeah, of course, this one we have to talk about. So, so the best analogy that I heard is what's his name? Jared Isaacman is like a satellite, and then he orbited his nomination, and then he went into this 90 days of radio silence, and then now he came around on the other orbit, and there is communication again. So yeah, what do you guys think? Is this a positive for Rocket Lab, for humanity, for our sanity? Or
I think it's a net positive unless you've held Shift 4 for the past while. but like I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm probably be buying Shift 4 over the next little while. Like after that, they just had their call on Wednesday morning. I don't know. I love it. It's one of those things like I'd be happy either way. I think that Jared, he has more to contribute to this. He has more to contribute than just at Shift 4. So it's like sad to see him leaving Shift 4, especially as a shareholder. But like, I think what he's leaving in his wake is just, I don't know, just fine. Just it's beautiful. I'm happy for him either way. And I think that it's probably the best choice for NASA, and especially compared to certain other people who might have got the role in his absence. So yeah, I'm very happy for him. I think it's the right move.
As long as you own more Rocket Lab than Shift 4, it's good.
I guess apparently.
Yeah.
But I don't even think Isaacman was going back to Shift 4, even if he didn't get the administrator role. So
he's like staying on the board, but like I don't even know if that's going to change now. But like, yeah, I mean, we could get into the whole share structure of Shift 4 too, but like that's going to have to change. But maybe that's probably why Shift 4 is selling off. But yeah, it is what it is. I think it's
I do think good news, right call, and all that stuff, as basically every space fan is saying. Very I just wish the process was a little cleaner, I guess. But the other thing is to remember, Isaacman is not a big fan of the robotic Mars sample return concept. So I wonder if this is, while good news overall, maybe bad news for that potential mission, is it's kind of said, well, let's let humans do it when Starship's ready. Which may be a while still. So
yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I've always admired is obviously he had a really good podcast on All In. If anybody hasn't seen Jared's All In chat before, I guess, I guess it was after it was announced that he was no longer in the running temporarily, I guess. It it was really good to see what kind of implementation he would have within the administration, and I think all together he would bring a new light that I think would bust up what has been kind of an old, I don't want to say old boys club, but an old administration that just needs to know new tricks, that I think has unfortunately been not busted through. And so he would bring a new sense of urgency and hope of technology. And I think he's on board with the whole private, space race aspect of things. Obviously being somebody that has been to space himself, right? So I think I honestly I think it's a breath of fresh air, and I'm excited to see what his administration looks like and shapes up as over the next couple of years.
Yeah. The only thing I'm curious about is, how much he'll be able to do, how much he'll run into issues with, Congress still sets NASA's, goals and budget and a lot of things like that. And there's a lot of politics around, where the jobs are and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, because he said in, I think it was in the All In podcast, also the interview, that he said that he doesn't think NASA should be in the business of doing what the private economy is doing. So, for example, there is many rocket companies now, so NASA should not be spending money to developing rockets, which is insanely logical because then you have money freed up. So basically, what he's saying is you don't need to spend 38 billion on SLS when SpaceX is spending their own money, and you can just buy the service, and then suddenly you have 38 billion to do crazy shit that commercially doesn't make any sense, and you might not see any outcome, which would be like a Mars sample return mission, or he said trying nuclear electric propulsion, or which sounds crazy cool, and I hope they get to do it. But yeah, it's very common sense, and I think it would result in a lot of contracts, for a lot more contracts to new space than before.
I think talking SLS, when the dust settles on that thing, say far into the future, I think we'll look back on what it delivered and how much was spent, and it is just going to be horrifying, almost criminal, the amount of money that went into something that ended up launching a couple times or whatever. But we'll see how that shapes up.
Yeah,
it's definitely a rock and a hard place too, because if Isaacman is just well, let's go with what actually delivers, what is fiscally responsible, I can already see the mainstream media being oh, Isaacman, Elon's buddy, is sending all the contracts to his friends, right? But then it's well, if he goes the SLS route, then it's going to be oh, well, NASA's still burning billions of dollars, and it's going to be tricky to navigate.
Yeah.
But you see, I think that they're still going to be burning money. It's just they're going to be, because, for example, you look at the James telescope. I'm forgetting the name.
James Webb.
James Webb, exactly. So that one was a 10 billion telescope, and it doesn't have there's no way that you're getting a return on that investment if you're commercial. That has to be done by a government, right? So I think that somehow he needs to be able to convince that the people who were involved in SLS, they can go work for the private industry, or they can be rehired to work on other projects that, like this electric propulsion, where you will still waste a lot of money, but you're not wasting them. I mean, waste, I don't think that is waste. Somebody has to do it, and the government is the best suited to do it. But yeah, we see what happens.
Yeah. One bullet dodge, though, is because they were starting to talk about potentially going back to an old school space cost plus contract for a new lunar lander concept. And that would have, I think, been a very bad.
Disaster.
So,
Yeah. That
yeah.
that was after he congratulated JAXA on carrying out Trump's mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he had some issues, this guy. He had too much on his plate, maybe, or I don't know. Yeah. Very, very glad for Jared Isaac, man. Cool. So the next one, as we alluded to in the beginning of the show, is Intuitive Machines made a huge purchase. Lantaris Space Systems. Intuitive Machines, I believe, is a $2 billion company, and Lantaris, which was formerly known as Maxar Space Systems, was an 800 million company. And they are doing this to position themselves for the future national security and commercial space programs, also known as Golden Dome. And others. So I think you guys follow Intuitive Machines, maybe especially you, Dave, more than I do. So maybe it's best fitting if you speak about this.
Yeah, I need to take a deeper dive on this. Maxar is obviously a company that has a long and interesting history itself. But I guess if you look at the worries, it's like, okay, are we just trying to buy revenue for something that doesn't necessarily fully fit with Intuitive Machines? Like, I don't know. It's like, I just worry there's been a little bit of a stretching in the M&A and people buying stuff that's like, oh, this is nice to buy. This is nice to buy, but maybe it doesn't necessarily fit as well with the core vision. I know they sell it well. And, I guess sometimes I still wonder about the Redwire and Edge one. But yeah, the amount of backlog and revenue that this Lantaris, I was going to say Maxar, brings to Intuitive is substantial. So it'll certainly help them in that regard, and perhaps it'll help with their is it Near Space Network or whatever, the communications with the lunar orbits. I think they have a big contract from NASA for some of that stuff.
I'll bring up like a skeptical point of view, I guess. Like when I see Firefly going public to the tune that they have and the acquisitions that they're making, and then I see this, it's just one of those things. I'm like, it's an interesting environment when capital is just getting thrown around like this. Like I wouldn't have been surprised if Intuitive Machines were the ones to be acquired, but going from the state that they were in to making acquisitions now, I'm like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe the market's going to not be so hot over the next little while, or I don't know.
It's just kind of odd when you look at these companies that are already cash flow positive and have like substantial revenues being acquired by companies so far away from that. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny to see. And with the Edge deal was also a little, I guess it's just really, you can raise a lot of capital going public and stuff like that. And then you can buy these things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys know what the cynical me is thinking is, how like before, like in the beginning of the AI boom, like if you said that, yeah, like our business is doing this with AI and, we're implementing this, like your stock price got a boost. And I feel like in the space industry, like the AI equivalent is like, we're going in the national defense and, we're going to get a piece of the Golden Dome, and then it gives like they're hoping that it gives a boost to the stock price, because I feel like, Firefly did this. They also acquired someone to go after national security. I think that was a software acquisition. And now Intuitive Machines says that it's for future national security programs. And the Edge from Redwire was also national security. So, yeah. And, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Scott. Or was it Dave?
Oh, I was just going to point out like to kind of echo what I was saying a moment ago, just in terms of like a lot of capital getting sloshed around. I think that's starting to kind of maybe become a little bit more realistic, where you see companies like pulling back, and I mean, you just see it in the kind of sentiment. It's just like, you know, it's sure it's one day, but it's a negative 12% day for Rocket Lab on no news at all. Well, sort of. I mean, there's rumors floating around and stuff, but it's like, I think it's easy to look at that and be like, oh, the sky is falling, but then you zoom out a year and it's like how are things actually? And you look at Firefly in the past 6 months, they're down 70%. Have they even been public for 6 months, or when is that? September?
I don't think it's
August.
been 6 months.
Yeah,
No.
that's rough. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be that.
I did short that one, by the way. Not something I usually do, but yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I don't want to say like the bubble's popping, but maybe we're just touching reality a little bit more than we have been.
I guess, kind of at the same time though, like, if a company is given an incredibly high valuation and they can basically turn that into acquiring a solid company like a Maxar or something, then like, I guess who's to blame them? But
oh yeah, I don't fault anyone. Like Firefly, this is a very smart move of their part. Like to go public when they did, when Rocket Lab was rallying like it was. Like I don't fault them at all. That was well.
Yeah, I just worry about them reaching profitability. I feel like it's almost like once you go public, your dice is like kind of thrown. Like if something goes super wrong, you can get into that death spiral, and I feel like you have more options to save your business in the private markets, like we saw with Astra, stuff like that. But we'll see.
I saw a post from Chris Kemp earlier today saying how they're building the pipeline for Golden Dome. So watch out, guys.
Yeah,
I heard it here first. Yeah. But yeah, I think what people are recognizing at the moment is this deglobalization of select groups of people, and people forming alliances and breaking down old alliances that were once, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess tried and true. And with that comes a need for more defense. And so, I think when you have these people going up for contracts and trying to gather more, what the people might be saying is, well, we don't have anything particularly from NASA, but we are beefing up Space Force budget. And so that would mean that you need to be involved more so in the defense space. And so I think what people are now recognizing is Rocket Lab is going into that space, and many others are giving out deals when it comes to defense. The UK being another, and same thing with Australia and New Zealand. Like, I think that people are seeing the writing on the wall that if they don't get involved, they'll be left behind, and they're already behind when it comes to a SpaceX and a Rocket Lab. How much further behind do they want to fall? And so I feel like they're almost saying we need to invest through the cycle. We need to try to catch up in any way, shape, or form that we can. Otherwise, we won't be at all involved with Golden Dome or some of these other future contracts that are worth hundreds of billions of dollars to a large group of people. So I feel like they recognize that unless they do something different, they're not going to be involved, and unfortunately, we'll miss out on that potential revenue.
Agreed. And continuing on this stream, I mean, we touched on this a little bit. So Redwire drops a lot after earnings, and I think Scotto and Dave, you guys follow this. No, I think Scotto. I think you follow this the most, so you would be the most qualified to speak on this. But yeah, what's going on with this company?
Scott, I think you're muted. I can hop in as well if you want.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, maybe you start, Dave. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, luckily I sold my shares because I needed to buy my call options on Rocket Lab. So that worked out very well for me because I sold my Redwire shares, bought those short-term call options, got a double on the call options, and then got out of everything. But they've had a couple rough earnings calls, some misses. They've taken, they call it EAC adjustments on some contracts that are now gonna, cost them less or more than they expected. And things have been looking pretty rough, but I don't know, like if you look at the edge autonomy business and how much that's worth, and that's like I feel like the market cap has gotten too small here. I don't know. What do you think, Scott?
Like, I mean, I have mixed feelings about it, and it's I gave them the benefit of the doubt after the Q2 print with all the adjustments and whatnot. And I do think that they do have a bright future. But one thing that it just rubs me the wrong way is a lack of accountability. And again, you have a bad quarter, not the end of the world, own up to it. But when it's like, they've revised guidance downward 3 times now this year, I think 2 for sure. But this most recent one it just felt like, if things are going wrong behind the scenes, as with anything in life, whether it's business, whether it's life, whether it's whatever, if you make a mistake, just own it. Like, I want to hear that from somebody being like, hey, we screwed up or whatever happened. I don't care. But to revise guidance down to the tune of $150 million and then basically turn around and say, maybe I'm misunderstanding, by the way, but to turn around and then say, oh, it's because the government shut down and the awards aren't being handed out. Like, sorry, but what awards are you expecting to recognize, I guess, in Q4? Like, since last quarter, you guys were expecting to recognize $150 million of awards?
That's what they said.
Well, that's basically like one of the reasons that they revised downward is like, oh, the government shut down. And I'm like, Peter, like, what are you talking about? Like, that is not why you revised downward. Like, you knew about this 3 months ago during the last call. Like, what are we talking about? So that just rubbed me the wrong way. And again, it's like everything else is excusable. The margins are getting to a better place. Margins next quarter are going to be, between 25 and 30% again, which is kind of what I was expecting for this quarter. But there's still some like transaction fees and whatnot, and that EAC adjustment. But so all this to say is like Q4 will be decent, but I just think the whole excuse for the guidance being revised downward is a little bit like, I don't know, dishonest, for lack of a better word. I didn't like it.
Yeah. I did hear that they were impacted by the shutdown and not getting awards. I didn't realize they were kind of trying to spin that as a reason for revising guidance. I don't know. Definitely feel a little more confident in Rocket Lab's management, I have to say. Just to, I guess, quickly take devil's advocate here. Like, if you go back far enough and you're looking at, okay, like last year, the stock was at this level. I mean, there's no edge autonomy. Yeah. I don't know. I guess is there a price where you would buy more, Scott?
My toxic trait is I'm like, maybe it's now. But like, actually, to be honest, I have that. I think I've mentioned on the show, I have like a 3-day rule. I never buy 3 days before or after like earnings or any sort of news event. But Redwire it hit like a threshold for where I would have bought, and I didn't pull the trigger, thankfully, because it's down like 12% on the day. I don't know what it's down on the week, but it's just one of those things. I'm looking at the price and I'm like, yeah, it kind of makes sense, but does that kind of factor in any sort of like lack of accountability going forward? I don't like the track record that I'm seeing lately. Mm-hmm. And again, if it was one of those things where it's like, hey, we screwed up, we made a mistake, and we learned from it, be like, okay, cool, let's learn from that and let's move forward. But just kind of the reason that they revised downward the past couple of times, I'm like, guys, just I don't know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Definitely looking at the price, but I'll probably wait for it to settle because as long as the government shutdown continues, like nothing will be awarded. Well, nothing with an asterisk will be awarded. So I kind of just see it like stagnating through Q4. I wouldn't be surprised. And like if people are looking for tax loss harvesting over the next 2 months, I mean, Redwire is kind of an easy trim to offset gains. So I don't know. It's appetizing, but I'll probably just wait. I probably will buy throughout the quarter, but probably not in the next little while. I think it's probably going down the share price, if anything, but short term anyways, short to mid term. Yeah.
Matt Money. What do you follow Redwire at all?
Nope, I don't have an opinion, and I don't think about it. But I wish everybody the best. That is
That's me also.
Yeah. Sorry, I know we're going on Redwire. I just have one question for Scott because I think he's looked at it a little more closely. Like, what is the market cap of Redwire today, and what did they pay for Edge Autonomy?
Their current market cap, let's just call it $1 billion. It's well, 1 billion, 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one very important thing for the
and wasn't Edge like a $1 billion?
950, I think. Let me double check. Where is it? Yeah.
So if you assume Edge is still worth the same today, that means you're getting the legacy Redwire business for like $300 million.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know what's going on with either of those. Because if you look at the past, like the annual data for each of those companies over the past little while, and then you look at 2025, it's like, guys, what is going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, things are weird. Something's
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was going to mention though, like there was a mention of a $250 million ATM equity offering too. So that's probably something I'll wait till the other side of to see the how much more dilution that Redwire is going to put you through. So be sure to watch out for that as well.
Yeah.
And then the last one here on the list is this one. Sea Aerospace is also seeking 300 million in fresh funding as it pivots from building spaceplane to riding the boom in national defense spending, including U.S. Space Force.
This is just everyone is
smoke it while you got it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like if you need funding in the space industry, it's like salt in the presentation how your national defense, and you will get Golden Dome, and then you're all good. You will get all the financing that you need. Yeah,
reminds me of like Astra. Then we have like ABL with their defense pivot, and it's like, we'll just do defense.
Yeah. It's the AI of the space industry. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think a part of it is just look at how much the NASA. Somebody said in the chat earlier, look how much the NASA budget's been decimated versus how much Space Force and national defense budget, right? And I think that the signs will kind of lean you into why I think some of these space companies are going that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the longest episodes that we have had, but it was fun. We covered a lot of ground, and any one of you covering live streaming the launch tomorrow, New Glenn, or earnings?
I'll probably jump on earnings.
Sorry,
everyone at once. I was just going to say I'll probably jump on earnings with you guys, but I'm not streaming the launch tomorrow. I'll be watching it for sure. What about you guys?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing the launch. I do tend to like doing my own stream on earnings, so probably do that separately, and then we'll regroup afterwards and take stock together, I guess, at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm not 100% certain as to when the launch is tomorrow, but I'll likely be on a flight. So unless it's super late in the evening, I might be getting prepared and doing a bunch of laundry. So But earnings for sure. I think I have something on Monday as well. It might be Rocket Lab. I don't remember. I know I have a Monday, a bunch of stuff on Monday and Tuesday that I need to cover. So last I checked, though, I think Rocket Lab was on Tuesday, but I don't remember. Might be
A Rocket Lab will be on Monday. By the way,
is it Monday? Okay, Monday was
yeah.
what I needed to. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and then the launch tomorrow. I'm seeing 2:45 is the opening of the window. It's like a 2-3 hour window.
Yeah.
So, and that's Eastern time.
Yeah, that's I figured. Yeah, so I'll be definitely mid-flight. Hopefully, he's taking a nap. I'm pretty tired.
I bet.
From England?
What's that?
To England?
You're like delaying and your mouth is moving, but I'm only hearing half the words.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. How long have you been in England? Like, is it the jet lag still that makes you tired?
Not the jet lag. I mean, obviously it's 11:30 at night right now. I've been doing live streams. I've been covering earnings. I've been doing a lot of meetings at the office. So just hustling and doing as much as I can. So yeah, it'd be nice to kind of get back to the house and normal cadence.
Have a safe trip home. Hopefully your plane is not in the 10% that gets shut down by the government shutdown. And you can see if we make it home. And thank you everyone for being here this week. Really enjoyed this episode, and I guess see everyone on the earnings somehow. Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you
Ciao,
all.
ciao.